Hello, and welcome to Candidates Up Front. This is the public interest election program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. I'm Judith Cranus, a member of the League. Our November 5th general election is coming up, and we will be voting for both state officials and federal officials. The deadline to register is Monday, October 21st. The League is interviewing candidates in contested races, those who wanted to be interviewed. And for each race, the candidates will get the same basic questions and will have the same amount of time to answer them.
Hello, I'm Bill Litvin. Two candidates are competing in the 11th Pennsylvania Senate District, Democrat Judy Schwenk and Republican Leisha Rowe. This district runs east to west in the center of Berks County and includes the most populated areas of the county. State senators serve a 4-year term in the state legislature in Harrisburg. They initiate legislation and vote to create laws. They pass the budget, including taxes and expenditures of the state. They help constituents with issues regarding state government. The salary for a state senator is $106,422 per year, plus benefits and expenses. Please note that the opinions expressed in this interview are those of the candidate and are not the opinions of the League of Women Voters or Berks Community TV. This interview is with Judy Schwenk. She is the incumbent. Welcome, Mrs. Schwenk.
Thank you.
Please tell our viewers about yourself and why you are running for this office.
Well, first of all, let me thank the League of Women Voters for giving me this opportunity to speak directly with my constituents. So I am currently your state senator, and I have been for 13 years. I am a resident of Ruscombe Manor Township with my husband, a mother, a grandmother, and an advocate, a strong advocate for this community. In the state Senate, I chair the Senate Agriculture and Rural Affairs. That's my background. I was the county ag agent years before taking this position on, as well as I serve on Health and Human Services. I serve on the Aging and Youth Committee, Games and Fisheries. I am a member of the Appropriations Committee and have been for many years, which is an important committee in terms of determining funding. And I also serve as a representative to the Board of Governors for the state system of higher education. So I've got a lot of committees on my plate, things that are, I'm busy when I'm in Harrisburg, and I'm busy when I'm here in the district as well.
What are the two most compelling issues on which, if elected, you feel you can make a difference?
There are a number of issues, but I must say that if the two that I hope to focus on in my next term, one is helping to grow the economy through the right investments, whether it's in agriculture or whether it's in projects to bring manufacturing in and health and human services, or whether it's simply trying to advocate to bring new employers here. I don't necessarily create jobs, but what I do is help to kind of till the soil so that we have the kind of environment in Berks County where we can do that. That would be certainly number one, and has been for a long time. But two, there's a crisis in housing, not only in Berks County, but throughout the Commonwealth and in this country. So that is an issue that I feel needs to be addressed, and I will be working on that in terms of advocating for a budget to support affordable housing, as well as to help people repair their homes through programs like the Whole Home Repairs Program.
Okay. Do you think Pennsylvania elections are fair?
I absolutely do think Pennsylvania elections are fair. I'm really pleased with the efforts of our Secretary of State, Al Schmidt, who came from Philadelphia County, who is doing an incredible job of helping to inform people about our elections, to help counties. Remember, counties are the ones who administer elections in our counties. So we need to be sure that we give them that support, and we do.
Will you support the results of the election as certified by the counties?
Absolutely, I would, and I always have.
Okay. And will you support the certified results at all levels of government?
Absolutely, yes. There's no question about that.
Both parties say they are pro-family, but they propose and vote for very different things. What legislation do you feel is pro-family?
First of all, certainly making sure that people can earn a living wage. So, for example, making sure that Pennsylvania finally increases its minimum wage. All around us, states have increased it. Here in Pennsylvania, we're still at $7.25. It's really a disgrace. We also, I believe also in programs that help promote the health and welfare of families and children, and particularly women. And also, I look at issues like childcare, making sure that we have that available. And two, paid family leave. There are so many people who have jobs that if they had a sick parent or a sick child, they would not be able to take off from work and still be paid. These are policies that hurt people from participating in the workforce, and they're definitely not pro-family. I have been supportive of those policies for many years and hope to see some of them pass in the coming session.
What specific ideas do you have to increase the supply and quality of affordable housing and to preserve existing affordable housing?
In this year's budget, we put another $10 million into a budget that's over $100 million to help support affordable housing projects throughout the entire Commonwealth. One thing that I've noticed is that Berks County has not been as good of a participant in that program as they need to be. So I hope to advocate not only with county leaders, but also with the builders. Other things that we can do is to look at not loosening our guidelines in terms of land use planning. That's basically up to the different municipalities, but trying to ensure that they have the tools they need to make wise decisions in determining where housing may go. Other things that need to happen are to protect people from eviction. In many cases, people who may have an eviction in their record from years ago are unable to actually rent an apartment because of that on their record. I am a prime sponsor of legislation that would help correct that. There's other policies such as making sure that security deposits are more accessible to the people who have to pay them.
Okay. Our Pennsylvania Constitution requires the state to provide 50% of the money needed to run our schools. And while the state has increased school funding in the past two budgets, it is still way below 50%. This shifts the burden to local property taxes. How would you address this taxing issue?
I've been a long-time proponent of reform to school property taxes. There's so much more that we could do, but in this past year, we helped to increase property tax and rent rebate programs so that we could increase, give $1,000 checks to people who really are on incomes where they can't afford those taxes. And I've also been a proponent of fair school funding. Finally, this year, we made a serious commitment, over $1 billion extra to our education funding, so that we could take the burden off of local school districts, off of you as a taxpayer, by making sure that the state contributed more of its fair share. We need to make sure that the school districts that need it the most also get that funding. There's places in the Commonwealth where there is no growth. And then there are places like the city of Reading or Muhlenberg Township, areas where they are not funded as well as they need to be because the population has been growing. The fair funding formula that we hope to be using in the future will help to correct that, and I'll continue to advocate for it.
Any thoughts on where to get the funding, income tax, sales tax, new taxes?
We can look, obviously, school property taxes are coming from people who are homeowners. I feel that everybody should have skin in this game, right? So that even if you are renting or if you are not a permanent resident of Pennsylvania, you're a visitor, that you're paying a sales tax that will help to accommodate or help to fund things such as school funding. So that's certainly one way I think that we could also help. In Pennsylvania, we have a flat income tax. Everybody, whether you're a millionaire or whether you're very low income, we're all paying the same 3.07%. We should have a graduated income so that those that can pay more of their fair share, and that money is used for funding education. Certainly, I think there are other programs, service sharing, helping for schools to work together so that we can ensure that we get a good education, but we keep costs at a minimum as well. A lot of things that we could continue to keep doing. The legislature needs to be willing to take that up. I know I am and have been for a number of years.
When an assault weapon or a large capacity magazine is used in a public mass shooting, nearly 14 times as many people are injured and twice as many people are killed. Our neighboring states, New York, New Jersey, and Maryland, all have assault weapons bans. Do you support an assault weapons ban for Pennsylvania, and why or why not?
I don't see any reason why someone needs to have an assault weapon in their possession. Certainly, it is. We know the kinds of collateral damage that assault weapons can create. Some recent incidents in Pennsylvania, including the attempted assassination of a candidate Trump, were with an assault weapon. We absolutely, at least if we can ban them, that would be preferable. If not, we need to raise the age as to when people are able to acquire these weapons.
Pennsylvania doesn't require secure weapon storage. Should we have a law requiring secure storage of weapons? Should parents who have not secured their weapons be held accountable for crimes committed by their children?
That's an interesting question, because just most recently in the school shootings that have occurred, now these what's happened in states where they are now charging the parents for, one, perhaps giving their child that weapon or not storing those weapons appropriately. In many, many cases, we read of tragedies of young children who found a loaded gun in their home and started playing with it, and as a result either shot themselves or shot someone else. This absolutely needs to end. We really do need to make sure that people store their weapons securely, use gun locks at the very least. But I support legislation that would review this, not taking guns away from people, just making sure that they absolutely store them appropriately.
The bipartisan Safer Communities Act of 2022 provides $50 million in federal grants to states with red flag warning laws. These laws allow a court to determine if a violent person may own a gun. Such laws are often used in cases of domestic abuse. Should Pennsylvania have such a law, it could increase our budget for violence prevention programs.
I don't think that increasing the budget is a good excuse for not trying every single way that we can to reduce gun violence. You know, more than any other issue, gun violence is a factor in suicide. So it's not just crimes against other people, it's people who are taking their own lives with guns. I support efforts to try to ensure that those individuals who should not have possession of guns do not. And the reasons need to be certainly clarified. There needs to be a process in place that people can assure that these are not being unconstitutionally taken away from people. But this absolutely could make a huge difference in the number of people who die as a result of gun violence.
Berks County is, as you know, 50% agricultural. We know growing seasons have changed. Pennsylvania has been spared the massive destruction of wildfires, but we have floods, drought, and destructive storms. Should Pennsylvania do more to protect our economy by doing more to prevent climate change? What actions do you think the legislature should or should not take?
Climate change is no hoax. It's a reality, and while we see it more, perhaps, in some other states, we're beginning to see it here in Pennsylvania too. So I absolutely think that we should. In terms of agriculture, we're doing some really good things in this year's budget. The federal funds that we received as a result of COVID, about $100 million of that was used to provide to farmers so that they could implement best management practices, conservation initiatives that would help preserve soil, make sure that our water is not muddied by runoff, and also preserve our air quality as well. Farmers absolutely enjoyed this program, and they used them quite frequently in Pennsylvania. In this year's budget, we put $50 million in so that we can also continue this program. I have seen firsthand the results of the implementation of this program, and I'm really pleased to see that Berks farmers are taking this up. They understand the issues that they face. It's profitability for them as well as protecting the environment, and that's a win-win for us.
Let's talk about fuels, fossil and sustainable. Should our laws and budgets support one more than the other, or both equally? Should state regulation require the same safety standards in both?
In Pennsylvania, we are starting to move towards assuring that we have multiple energy sources available to us. We're moving away from coal simply because in terms of cost, it's expensive, and in terms of environmental impacts, it certainly has serious environmental impacts. Natural gas is a factor in this, as well as the use of solar and wind, renewable energy sources. We need a mix of all of the energy sources that we can possibly find, but those that are less detrimental to our environment, to our, to our soil and to our water. That's simply what we need to do. We need to continue moving towards that more renewable energy source. And we're beginning to see that happen. State government alone, in the next 5 years, will go to almost 100% of renewable energy sources for most of their buildings. So it can be done. We simply need to have the incentives to do it. I've been to see natural gas wells. It's been an important factor in the economy of many, many counties in northern Pennsylvania, southwestern PA. We need to make sure that we position those counties and those individuals who rely on the jobs from those industries into a better energy source.
Most Pennsylvania House and Senate seats are won in the spring primary election when Democrats and Republicans choose their candidates. One reason is gerrymandering, creating voting districts where one party always wins. After each U.S. Census, House and Senate leaders behind closed doors draw new voting districts, rewarding friends, making it harder for enemies. House Bill 1776 and Senate Bill 1076 would amend our Constitution so a transparent, independent citizen commission draws the lines. States with this system say candidates from major parties are more moderate and better able to work together. Would you vote to create an independent citizen commission to draw legislative district lines after the next census?
I've been on board with that legislation from the time that it was introduced. It should not be the case that elected folks like me pick our voters instead of the voters choosing who is going to represent them in the Senate and the House of Representatives. And frankly, in all elected offices, that needs to be the case. So I am supportive of that initiative. I would vote for it if it ever came before us. There's resistance to it, obviously, but we're hopeful that perhaps in the next session we'll be able, if we can make some changes in terms of the representation in some districts where there has been such resistance to this, we might get it done in the next session.
Another issue is closed primaries. Should Pennsylvania change how we run our primary election? Why do you feel as you do?
I do feel that we need to open our primaries so that folks that are not registered as a Democrat or a Republican are able to vote. They're paying for the elections. They should also get the opportunity to participate. And besides, I think it would lend itself to making sure that the right people are moved forward in terms of, for example, the primary, so that voters have the choices that they'll need in the general election to make the right selection to lead our communities.
Bipartisanship and compromise at our State House are rare, so there are few accomplishments even when the majority of constituents agree on an issue. Do you intend to increase and improve bipartisanship, and how would you do it?
I don't know any other way of working in terms of my efforts in the Pennsylvania Senate since I got there. I'm the Senate Democrat. I'm in the minority. In order to get a bill passed, we need to have Republicans on board, and it just makes sense. We need to have, we need to get the voices of everyone to get the best legislation that can be put forward that would represent what our voters want. That's the way government should work, and I'm dedicated to making sure that that happens. I told you I chair the Senate Ag and Rural Affairs Committee. I am good friends with my co-chair, who is a Republican from Western Pennsylvania, a former dairy farmer. And we see eye to eye on so many issues and are available and are willing to work on that. And I will continue to do that.
We have about 30 seconds left. Can you make a closing statement quickly?
I have been honored to serve you, the people of my district, as I like to call it, the heart of Berks County. There is so much opportunity available to us. We are a growing community. We are diverse. We have many, many reasons to think that things can continue to get better in our economy, in the services that are available, in our quality of life. And I want to be a part of that, to continue to serve you and to give you the best constituent service that you've come to expect and enjoy, and to continue my work there. So I would certainly appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On your ballot will be the candidates for U.S. Congress, for the Pennsylvania Legislature, for Pennsylvania Attorney General, Auditor General, and Treasurer, as well as President. To check your voting status, go to vote.pa.gov. You can register, change your party, locate your polling place, or apply for an absentee or mail-in ballot. The deadline to register is October 21st. The deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot is October 29th. And November 5th, Tuesday, November 5th, is Election Day. Please also check the League's online voters guide, vote411.org, to confirm your voting district and get more information on the candidates. All you have to do is go to the website, type in your address, and it'll give you information about the candidates and their responses to our questions. You can also get information by contacting Berks County Election Services. Their email address is elections@countyofberks.com. Their phone number is 610-478-6490. Thank you for watching Candidates Up Front. I'm Bill Litvin. Good day.